Hello and welcome to our Pilates class today. Hope you're all keeping well. And as I look out, it's snowing. Don't know if it is when you're watching this, but we seem to be getting some quite heavy snow, so a little bit chilly. So we need to warm up and swinging the arms, having a shake through, noticing how everything feels. Come into your half stars, or even your full jacks, whatever needs to be done to warm ourselves up. So taking a little time with that, and you can really swing the arms up and even lift off the ball if you're confident on the ball, but be careful if you're actually coming off the ball. Clearly you need to be safe and be able to return to the ball safely. Good. So if you wanted to bounce a bit longer, you could bounce around one way then the other. Otherwise, when you feel you've done enough bouncing, let's start to loosen the back. Make those nice big circles all the way around. Just noticing how the back feels. Go one way, then the other. So, as you know, I often like to give you some health tips other than just the physical exercise. Some of you may know, for really since the beginning of lockdown in March, I've been following the Wim Hof method, which involves some deep breathing and going into cold showers. If you want to know more about Wim Hof, there's lots of information, and he has an amazing immune system, and he's been studied widely. But just recently, I'm always listening to different people and different podcasts, all usually to do with health, well-being, meditation. Anyway, as I'm talking, start to stretch up. I've been listening to an Indian guru called Sadhguru, and I have actually included the links to on my last restorative yoga class. And there was a talk between him and Wim Hof on YouTube, which I found very interesting. So we keep breathing. So Wim Hof, as you can imagine, is a really hardcore person who does all these amazing feats in the cold, but has developed a wonderful immune system. And we're looking up. So Sadhguru is also working with immunity and speaking to his devotees in India, southern India, about all the things we can do to keep well. Exhale, and there's a very interesting and amusing, in my eyes anyway, a talk between the two of them available on YouTube. And he starts off by saying to Wim, this is the guru, the Indian guru, now Wim, don't make me go into the cold. And he's smiling, and the conversation goes on. And what I've actually been doing more recently, partly because it is so cold, I've been doing the hot-cold method. So I start in hot, which is much, much easier than going straight into cold, and then go into the cold, and then I usually do it 4 times, 2 hot, 2 cold. But I find that's another very good way, you know, we all know about the Turkish baths and the hot-cold, a very good way of loosening your muscles. And right now, I feel it's suiting me better. The cold, you have to be quite strong to go into it, and it is clearly cold, although you can get used to it, and I'm sure it helps your immunity and build physical strength. But you may like to, and sometimes it's given anyway, of course I'm just doing floating arms here, it's given us a methodology to help with aches, pains, injuries and stiffness and recovery. And it does, it's a good method, and it's used in hydrotherapy. So you have a hot shower as much as you can manage, then you switch it to the cold and you stay there for, I'd say, at least a minute, and then I go hot, cold again. So I'm just been doing that a little bit more often at the moment, and it's actually, I think, really helping with shoulder tension and neck tension as clearly, and have your shower as high as you can get it, so the spray that is strong, but it's a good hydrotherapy for your body as well. So just a tip there. Anyway, if we haven't done so, perhaps we haven't as you've been listening, let's just close the eyes. And of course, becoming present and calm in the mind is really essential to our well-being. And we'll do this a few more times. Full deep breaths, softening into it, Focus on the full deep breathing. And let's have one more time. And then stretching up and over. Breathing into the middle. Exhale to reach across. And one more to each side. Hold the top wrist. Give an extra pull or draw on that top arm. Keep the shoulder down. Feel the whole side body stretching here. Good. Come back to the top and the other direction. See if you can relax a bit more deeply into it. And now let the arms float down. The arms float down. We sit tall. Shoulders down, neck long. Exhale, come into rotation. Breathing into the middle, breathing out to rotate. And one more to each side. And hold this position now. So ease yourself round and see if you can breathe a little bit more calmly, a bit more deeply into areas of tightness and resistance. And then just soften. Just see if you can surrender to that and breathe. And now the other side. Lift up, feel tall, shoulders down, neck long. Good. And then return back to the center, put the elbows on the waist, palms uppermost, and move into the position we call dumb waiter. Chin retracts, shoulders back. Nice and calm. Soften the face, soften the jaw. Tongue at fire point if it's not already there. Remembering all these tips like tongue at fire point, it directs prana. It's what we call a mudra in yoga. Relaxes your jaw and helps energize but also take tension away. So trying to incorporate these other lifestyle tips as far as you're able. And we have a much better chance of staying well and healthy and not succumbing to any type of infection. Let's have one more. So nice and tall, chin to chest for half circle. Lift up and look from side to side. Breathing into the middle, breathing out to look round. And we have this one more to each side. Go a little deeper if you could. Focus on your breath. Back to center and the other direction. Back to center, half circle now, chin to chest. Lift up and let the head drop to one side. Breathe into it, shoulder relaxes, face calm. Head moves to your forward diagonal, nod your head, find the uncomfy spot. And rotate the nose now towards the armpit. Keep breathing. When you head back to your first place, take hold of the opposite ear and stretch all through the side of the neck. Breathe in, exhale, make space. Hand to the back of the head and begin to rotate the head. Just move it around, however feels good to you. And then take your head down to the diagonal. And then rotate your nose more towards your armpit. And we sit up. Again, drop the shoulders, be tall. Go the other side. Calm breathing. Turn the head in one direction. And then the other. Drop the head. Head to the diagonal, nod the head. Find the uncomfy spot. Nose to armpit. Ear to shoulder. And take hold of the opposite ear. Slide your hands from below the ear, reach the collarbone, and make some more space here. And at the back of the head, roll the head around. Again, just seeing if you can free up a little more. Nose to armpit. You can still do micro movements or rolls for a few moments. Just find the point. You know, you're trying to ease it through. And then you can hold the stretch. Breathe calmly. Face relaxed. Belly breathing now. Good. And then we sit back up, take hold of our base of our neck, and as if we're pulling the head away from the body, looking up, keep breathing, open up your chest, shoulders back, look down, rub the neck, find the uncomfy spots, and go again. And look down. Good massage there. So yeah, after my hot cold shower, I then do my Ayurvedic massage. I put the oil on my body, my Hawaiian joint on my neck, my right shoulder and my right hip. That's the sacroiliac area. That's the area I get most discomfort. And you can use that Maharajan oil throughout the whole body. In fact, Cindy, our Ayurvedic alchemist, told me to rub it on the belly, so it's good for digestion, but then to use another oil on other parts of the body. So that oil is in my body, and as you know, another tip that I recommend that we all do daily. In Ayurveda, it's prescribed, not just suggested. All right, so let's come to our roll down. So we find our bendy ball, and we, as we know, we stand up, bendy ball between the knees, grow tall, shoulders back, chin retracts, feel as tall as you can, have a full inhale, expand the whole body, expand the lungs, pelvic floor lifts hollow, and let's roll down now. Bone by bone, arrive at the bottom, take a full inhale, pelvic floor lifts, scoop and hollow, restack your spine. Take your time, shoulders back, lift up, and continue in our own time, focusing on that calm, steady breath, surrendering down to the floor, and always coming up and taking a moment to be tall, to take that full mindful breath. Inhale. Don't sit back into the heels, so keep the body weight equally weighted between the base of the big toe, base of the little toe, and the center of the heel. So just check. Tend to rock back, especially if we've got tight hamstrings, because it's a little bit easier to come down. And remembering, when you roll up or roll down, you maybe come to a particularly uncomfy spot, and you can use this little shift of the body weight, the micro movement side to side, just to free up that space. Pelvic floor lifts hollow, and again, of course, you could use it on the way back up, just to see how that feels. And we'll do it twice more. And the last one coming up, we're going to stay down in that low position. So here we're going to bend the knees, hit the glutes, rub your lower back, your knees, your thighs, wherever you're tight and comfy. We'd like to warm up, loosen up, and then just hang for a moment. And just breathe into it, see if you can go any deeper. Maybe nod your head, roll your head a fraction. Good. And we're going to take the bendy ball or whatever you're using between the legs away now, and place your left foot behind your right, and then drop down, and you'll feel that stretch a little bit more in the back of the left leg. And if you push your hips over to the left and move your hands to the right, you'll find it's a stronger stretch. Breathe into it, try and soften, and then come back to center, Switch the cross, so right leg behind left, hang here. And you'll notice it, you can just try and ease into it. And then walk your hands to the left, drop the head, soften. Might be a little strong, a bit uncomfy, just breathe and surrender. And slowly and carefully uncross, so your feet are parallel again. Roll ourselves up. Find your bendy ball first to keep the legs in good alignment. And then let's come into that ski squat. Very appropriate today. So nice deep ski squat. Keep breathing. Try and develop that stretch a little bit more. That strength that's required. Squeezing the glutes. Bring the arms up. And rolling the shoulders back in the socket now, adding the scapular squeeze. So you might notice with the cold, and maybe we're all, I'm sure, expect sitting at desks and computers and looking at our phones and devices. So we tend to be rounded when we do that in the upper back. And I know that there are a lot more injuries occurring due to that type of situation. They've been rounded, necks out of alignment, shoulders out of alignment, people working from home and not getting up and walking around. So please remember, try not to stay fixed in one position. It's really important to move around, ideally at least once an hour. And then let's come into the downhill ski position. So I don't know if there'll be enough snow for people to be out skiing the next day or so, but I don't know if anybody saw it on the last lot of snow, but there were skiers and snowboarders out in the Valley Gardens at least. And now come into that deep squat. Hold it, go deeper, and slowly up. Roll the shoulders, nod the head, and have a shake. Again, just really helps with the tension. So we come back to our large ball now, and we're ready for our back stretching. So remembering to use the bendy ball if there's any reason why it wouldn't be safe for you to be on the large ball. But as usual, another massage, of course. Let's start to roll the back. And you can start to do the shoulders. Massage your shoulders and neck. And then as usual, upper and lower back together. Hands on shoulders. Begin to circle the shoulders. And we begin with an inhale as the elbows move towards each other. Exhale as we circle back. If that feels manageable, straighten the arms. See if you can go a little deeper perhaps. And then, as usual, and we've done this a few times, what feels good to you, how many do you want to do? We literally just surrender and hold it. And really move into the discomfort of the stretch and surrender to it. And as you relax, it needs to be around about 3 minutes to get that deeper stretch. You may start to go a little bit further. So just be with it if you're comfortable to stay here. Just see if you can develop. If you can walk your hands, I can't hold on to anything here, but say you could hold on to a table leg or a bed leg and walk your hands down the leg or push them against maybe the side of the bed. You might be able to go a bit deeper. You could turn your palms over. So again, that can be quite a help. And actually to pull a little bit, particularly to get the arms back further in the sockets against some sort of resistance that's secure, of course. If you need a short break, just bend your knees a moment and come up. And you can. I often like to do this. If I feel that I could go a bit deeper, I'm going to have another go, but you need to make sure your feet aren't going to slip. So still wearing socks here, so I'm going to just remove those because even though they've got the sticky bottoms, I still don't feel as secure as I do without socks. So again, just, noticing these sorts of safety tips really. You can always take the arms out to the side as well as a tip. Okay, so gently bring the head up, nice and slowly. Now we're going to do some crunches from this position. If you're not confident on the ball, lie on your mat. And we're going to take the hand to the side of the head and we're crunching. So dependent on how your body feels, you can take your head all the way back. Now some people find this movement too strong and it might make us feel slightly dizzy, in which case don't go so far back, just keep your head more on a level. So clearly checking in for these sorts of things. Now if you're feeling strong, can you even bring your yourself onto your tiptoes? So you're having to use more core strength, more abdominal strength to bring ourselves up here. And so you can do your crunches on the ball. And you should feel it fairly soon. I think it would have been last Thursday's video. We were using the green bendy ball to do our crunches. It's a sort of a similar idea. And we can add in an opposite hand to the opposite outside knee and really reach across. And you should feel this. I'm feeling it reasonably strongly now. So that, that's a good sense. I want to work our abdominals. We need a strong core. The whole support system of our body and our pelvic floor, of course, the foundation of the house. All right, now you may want to go longer. I think I feel I'm more or less getting to the point where I want to take a break. So first of all, we stretch back. Now that stretch back, again, is not just stretching the spine, it's stretching the abs, because your abdominals clearly have been working quite strongly here. And you might find you just go a bit deeper back. So sometimes when we contract a muscle and then release it, we can go into the position a little more strongly. Now we come up slowly, hands at the back of the head, and we're coming to our side stretches because we were, of course, working with the obliques when we were twisting. So if we now take a stretch, this hopefully will mean that we're not quite so stiff tomorrow if we were going to be stiff. And you really stretch and open. Exhale. And let's hold on the top wrist. Draw on the wrist. You can push into the top foot, and therefore you might be able to lift your knee off the floor, the underneath knee, which means you, again, are balancing. You need more balance. Stay with your breath. Let's do the shoulder exercise. So you can start with your hand on the shoulder. If that's manageable, you can open out fully and follow the hand with your eyes and really get that stretch in. A wonderful opening exercise. We'll do it one more time and spin all the way around, hands to the back of the head. Reach back, hold it here. Breathe calmly. Go a bit deeper if you're able. And then hands to the back of the head and switch the ball to the other side. So again, we're just getting ourselves, always take a moment with your alignment. We don't want to go into the exercise until we've got the right alignment. Now, if you're experienced, you'll be able to pretty well go into this, for instance, as we're practicing now, this straight line, side straight line. But if you're a bit newer, and I know there are a couple of you newer watching it, then just take a bit longer. It doesn't matter if you do slightly less exercises. If you're new, you will have to take it steady, of course, or you've not been well or anything like that. And then we can lift off the underneath knee if we wish, and breathe. And we start the shoulder circles now, so you can start with your hand on your shoulder, but you don't need to start there, that's fine. Go straight in to the full opening. Exhaling as we open. And we have one more. And we spin round, hands to the back of the head, reach back, keep breathing. And again, hands at the back of the head, slowly up. And now we have our counterbalance stretch. Now I generally like to use my rolling pin when we come into the squat, because for me it works better. So, but first of all, we'll start on our knees, head one side, and gently rock. Head the other side. And then we come forward over the balls. So again, as long as you're confident and happy to do so, you can drop your head down and swing your feet and take your feet off the floor, one leg on the other, soften your face, your jaw, your neck, switch the leg. And then the squat. So you can use your knuckles, but use a pin, a rolling roller if you've got one, and really go in deep into your glutes. You can go really deeply. The big muscles there, a little bit more gentle around the more bony bits of the back, and really get into that area. So any of us who may have tightness, it's very common actually in the sacroiliac joint, the major joint of the body, between the sacral area and the hip and the leg bone. And then you can turn your rolling pin over and do your shoulders. Again, you can, at least I find I want to be quite vigorous and rigorous here. It gets very tight. And the neck as well, you can massage your neck. So you can see how many times I've suggested in this class already, do some self-massage. And for me, this is on top of, the massage I've already done this morning. Okie dokes. So we're coming up. Now, if you have a stability cushion, we're going to use that today. If not, then you're going to sit as normal on your ball, and we're going to use some weights. So if you don't have weights, remember you can use tins. So if you'd like to get your equipment, and as we know, the stability cushion is to teach us to be stable, work on knee issues. And we're going to use, this is if you're on the stability cushion, you're going to use your bendy ball as well. Now, otherwise you're just going to sit on your ball, because that will also give you a work for your core, of course. And if you're on the ball, you can start to lift a heel or a whole foot. And we're going to start with bicep curls and tricep presses back, like so. So hands come up, push the elbows back, and lift up. So if you have one of these stability cushions, they're extremely helpful. You can sit on them as well. So if you wanted to put it on a chair, so you're at your computer, you didn't want to use your ball, put it on your chair, and you'll find that it actually does give you that movement as well. So you're not too static. You have to adjust so you keep balance. So this is the bicep curl. Elbows press backwards. Turn the back of the hands towards the wall or whatever's behind you, and press your arms back. So really press the elbows back and bend from the elbow. You may, like I'm showing, you might be a little bit wobbly on the stability cushion because we're working, and it's really good work when it's like this, snowy, icy outside, to train the balance. So we're going to squat and we'll lift the arms to the side. Shoulders down. Inhale, exhale. Nice deep squat, shoulders down, and try and make sure those weights are heavy enough to give you a reasonable level of resistance. That's it. Now, if you do have a stability cushion, or the prickle hedgehogs as they're called, you'll notice you probably don't want to be on it too long, especially if you've got bare feet. So in a moment, we're all going to either stand up or come off the stability cushion. And we're going to do some standing balance. So we'll just press that away, put that out of the way. So we're going to do a standing starfish. So we'll start with the bent knee, lifting the arm and the bent knee, looking ahead and working with your balance. So I've been learning more balanced standing poses from learning Tai Chi, which we've now actually gone online with. There should have been a 10 o'clock class this morning in the Valley Gardens, but we're, as you know, not even allowed to be outside for classes at the moment. And they do the Tai Chi in all weathers. They would have still been outside today under the pavilions, so it's sheltered. Now, this movement here, when you use the same arm and same leg, is known in Tai Chi as Golden Rooster. And it's part of a flowing sequence of what is called the form, like a slow flowing dance. And you do a lot of transfer of your weight. So if you work with your Tai Chi and your balance and your breath, it's very mindful movement, you will increase your balance. Also very calming. I'm tending to try and do a bit every evening now, early evening. And actually I'm really enjoying it. So again, it's one of those things I'd really encourage you to do. And we'll come back to this arm movement, but this time we're going to press up. So you were squatting and lifting. Keep the shoulders down, nice deep squat and lift. And again, we're going to lift the knee for this. So squat and lift the knee. If we don't train our balance skills, it's definitely something, balance coordination, that will decrease with age. Like every function generally of the body, it will diminish. But as we know, what we keep focusing on, keep practicing, then we'll keep it, or at least that's the intention. Use it or lose it, we all know that as praise. And then we're going to do movement I tend to do in Pilates. We bend the knees, take the arms back and stretch the leg behind. So come nice and deep into your squat and stretch the leg. Now you can keep your feet on the floor, or you can start to raise the leg. Now there is a tendency here to twist a little, and actually I'm on the mat here, which is quite, I've got two mats, and it is a little harder to balance if you're on something quite thick, like grass or a mat. So if you can come to a firmer floor, then you'll find it's a little easier. We'll do 4 more. If your weights are a little heavy, then you will get slight heart rates going up, which is good. Let's do what we call in Pilates prancing pony. So first of all, we come up onto just our toes and you push into the feet and curl your feet up from the floor, peel it up, and you can see I'm holding my hips, and this is to stop this sort of action, no twist of hips. So the hip bones point straight ahead. And you need, if you can, normally in the studio I get us all to look in the mirror now. Hip, knee and ankle shouldn't be rotating. So it's not such a good idea to look down, but it's perhaps better than, doing something like this when you come up. Now, if you know you're doing it correctly, you can go into what we call prancing pony. When you come right up onto your toes, balls of the feet, and really work through the feet. So I'm right up on my tiptoes there, and it's a challenge to keep that alignment. And personally, I'm having to look just, of course, at the phone, which I video on, but I would actually like to be able to see my knees, because I know I have a tendency to roll in on one foot. So preferably watching yourself in a mirror as you do that, and checking that the ankle, knee and hip are all in alignment. So as I say, if mine are rolling in a bit, that's because I need to check as well. Okay, so if we've got one of these cushions, let's go back on it. Otherwise, sit back on the ball, and we'll just do a little bit more work for the upper body. So we'll do the dumb waiters, unusual and bendy ball. Because what happens, of course, is if we're a little bit wobbly, then the knees may not start to knock or even go outwards the other way. And they can't do that with a bendy ball. So the muscles around the knees are having to work properly. Elbows and waist, open the arms. Breathe. We'll do it 4 more times. Dumb waiters. And incidentally, you could, if you didn't have a weights, a lot of this you can do with your resistance band, which maybe we'll look at that next week. I like to give us all a different, different choice of things to do, keep it fresh. But it's more than that, it's good for the mind. And if we always do what we always did, we're not learning new things, that's not good for us either. So that's another reason for me wanting to learn Tai Chi. It's a different way of moving, quite different to yoga, Pilates or dance, which my other disciplines, you're much more, we have a pose, for instance, called the bear, and it's the reason, I won't go into depth, but the reason you hold these positions, your arms are slightly open, you're often a little bit rounded like that, is because it allows the energy to flow. Okay, so let's finish with that and place everything back down, but we might come back, see how the time is, to using the weights on our legs. So we'll come onto the mat because we're just going to do a stretch, and we'll find the big ball and press the chest towards the floor. So really push down, feel the chest opening, keep breathing, keep the left arm on the top, right elbow bends, push into that left arm, that left shoulder space, and switch the side. Maybe nod the head. And then hollow out, do a cat stretch, push the ball away. And again, scoop and hollow, look down towards the knees, push the ball away. And just for a few moments, hold that stretch again. Good. Just work with it. So we'll come onto the mat now, in our upper body strength work. And let's have a think. So we'll just come back down, as I say, to the mat. So come down in your own way and roll yourself down if you want to sit. Checking that ball into roll in front of me. So sitting on the mat, pulling the pelvic floor, stomach draws in and up, and roll ourselves down nice and slowly. And lie back on the mat, and let's just take a moment now to hug the knees to the chest, massage the back. How's it feeling? Maybe nod your head from side to side. And let's work into the hips. So press the knees outwards, holding on to the knees with two other hands. Nice big circles. Good. And then the other direction. And then let's take a knee to chest pose. It's a great release for your back, but also very good for your digestion. You'll be familiar with this if you're practicing yoga on Wednesday with me. I nearly use it in every class, and I certainly do it in my own practice daily. So squeeze your right thigh. It's always your right side first to work with the ascending colon against your stomach. Lift your left leg and bring your nose to your knee. And bring the knee to midline so we can preserve the neck. And then hold on the up and let's work the core. So you're just going to lift and lower that left leg a few times. We did this if you've done the yoga class I taught yesterday on Zoom and catch up. I did this exactly the same. And then lie down. And again, just massage your belly. Good. And stretch that side. Take an inhale and sigh. Now the left. So left thigh against the belly. Squeeze the belly with your left thigh. Press as much into the belly as you can. Bring the knee to midline. Right leg lifts up, nose to knee. So bring the knee as much to the midline as you can, as opposed to head over to your knee. You'll take your neck out of alignment and hold it. You can do a few lifts and lowers if you wish. Keep breathing and then relax. And then hold on the inside of your feet, bend the knees and rock. Happy baby pose here. Good. Lovely. So let's do a few starfish. So lying on your back, opposite arm and leg. And incidentally, you could be on your acupressure mat now if you wish. Now, your basic one, as most of us know, opposite arm and leg, legs and arms on the floor. If you're still very new to this, please do watch the YouTube video I've done with one of my students. I would go through it in some depth at the basic level, and then the next level, the advanced level. When you bring one leg up, then the other, the belly must be flat, opposite arm and leg. So again, I just break it down in more depth because it is a very important exercise to learn and get it correct as we use it, as I'll show you in a moment, for all sorts of other exercises. If you're strong, you can do the 2 arms, 2 legs. And if you know the full double leg stretch, when you lift the head up and you put your feet together and open them into a plie position, this is the original exercise. It's known as the double leg stretch. Then feel free to go ahead with that and see how that feels. Can you manage that and keep it smooth and flowing without injuring the neck? Couple more. Good. And again, let's draw the knees in and rock. Now, the exercise we've just been doing, also the starfish, this is another original exercise. It's known as single leg stretch. Start with knees over hips, flat stomach, hands to the side of the head, and we bring the opposite elbow to opposite knee. So it's a cycling exercise. And we're really trying to reach the elbow to the knee. We've already done some work for the obliques when we were, and the abs, of course, when we were on the ball, but we'll just add a few more. And you can flex the foot and push away into your foot if you can keep the control and go more quickly, double time. And then you come back to slow, single time. Please stay with the single time if you can't coordinate and if you're new, because again, your technique, the way you do it, is essential. And then you can go double time. And then single time. And you go on till you couldn't do any more. And I hope by now you're feeling it. And you can do another set of double time. And just keep going. And you'll notice I'm starting to slow down and I'm not doing it as well. So I got to the point where I could have gone on a bit more, but the technique wasn't so good. So it's wiser to stop. And then to release, we're going to take the knees to your left side. Right arm will stretch out and look over to your right arm. Keep stretching and breathing. Surrender to it. If you're flexible and you could go a bit deeper, you can wrap your right leg over your left and see if you can still get your knees towards the mat. Don't lift the right shoulder. Nice calm breath. Stay with it. And nice and slowly now. Let's go to the other side. So left, the legs go over to your right side, left arm stretches out, head to the left. And if you did cross your knees, wrap your left knee round your right, you can if you wish now. Good. And then just take a moment and stretch out and really lengthen the whole body. Encircle your wrists and your ankles. Releasing. Keep breathing. Good. So let's roll over onto our fronts now and we'll do our back extensions. That's it. So I'm just moving my mat back because I know sometimes it's too far forward. I can't be so easily seen when I'm lying down. So we stretch out the arms and let's do a few stars. So this is the same exercise really as starfish, just on your belly. Stretch the opposite arm and leg and don't go for any height, lengthen out. Pelvic floor lifts, hollow, so you give yourself the support and lengthen and lower. Stretch and lengthen. So when we keep nice and low, this is particularly good if we've got any spine issues or disc issues, but we can start to raise higher if we feel that we're strong enough to do so. And your choice. Exhale as you lift. Now lift and hold. Look at the mat, keep stretching, lift from your glutes. And slowly down. Other side. And slowly down. Fingertips at brow line, moving into diamond press. Nice and slow. Exhale on the raise, in on the lower. Hold on the up, look at the floor, shoulders down, neck stays long. And take the hands slightly off the floor, notice the upper back, of course, working harder now. Nice steady breath, stay quiet, stay calm. And release when you need to. Lie fully down, hands point forwards now as we move into Sphinx. Again, how much can you stretch before you come up? Always think of that lengthening. One more. Stay on the up, look down at the floor. Take your hands away and squeeze your shoulders down your back, hands off the buttocks. Begin to lift one leg at a time. Or you can go into the two legs. Hold it here. And as usual, if you could go any more, lift your arms forward as well. Stay with it. It's very strong. Keep breathing. And when you know you couldn't hold it any longer, that's fine. Zigzag the legs. Moving into quadriceps stretch. So hold on the inside of your foot. You can use two hands if you're able. Hold your leggings, trousers or socks. If you find you're twisting, push the hip into the mat. Slightly lift the thigh off the floor if you can. Breathe. Slight pelvic tilt to keep the back long. Switch side. And then, as usual, let's see if we can do the bow pose. Hold the inside of your feet. Breathe in. Exhale to raise. Rock on your belly with the use of your Jaya Pranayama if you can. And as usual, take your rest when you need to. So hands come under the shoulders while we push up into our best version of Cobra. Pelvis stays on the mat, elbows against the waist. Bend the elbows, shoulders down, lift up and pump your chest out even more if you could. And then just twist yourself for a change and look over to your left foot. And then twist and look to your right foot. It doesn't matter if your legs move here. And again, slight rotation. Be careful with this. If you're not comfortable, drop a little bit lower to do it. And then always slowly out of these movements. Zigzag ourselves back. Keep stretching the arms forward, child pose. And if you'd like to come sideways, open the knees, feet turned out, and go into frog pose, please do so. Remember, we stay with these poses a while, so surrender to it Open the knees as much as you can. Whether you can do this, whether you're in child pose, you can still open the knees, which works the inner thighs, of course, and just stay here. And then very slowly press ourselves up. Good. So before we finish the stretches, I'm not going to use the weights actually. If you've got really strong legs, you might want to use them, but I find I don't actually need a weight if I sit up well. And we're going to do a little bit of work for the quads, which is actually to strengthen the knees. So we sit up as tall as we can and hug the knee. I've got my right knee up, hugged up, and lift up. First exercise is just to flex the left leg and feel the muscles here on the top of your legs, the quads are known as, going firmer. So that's your very first exercise, especially above the knee. That area feels quite limp and weak, then we know that we need to do more work. And we're going to try and lift the leg. So the key here is to really sit up, and you will feel it pretty well immediately. If you could sit straight with a weight on, you must have very strong legs. If you can't sit straight for any reason, you can lean back on your elbows, in which case I would recommend using a weight because it will be a lot easier. Turn the foot outwards and you'll start to feel the inner quads, and turn the foot in and you'll feel the outer quads. And basically we just keep doing this until we've had enough, and it shouldn't take long. You can go back to the middle and breathe, and you'll feel it right the way up to the leg and also into the joint. And when you've had enough, just give it a good rub so it doesn't go into cramp, and massage it through. Good. So we'll do this on the other side now. So we start with the we started just with the tightening of the quad. That's your first level exercise. Maybe you've just hurt your knee or had knee surgery. Then you start to lift. Keep breathing. Lift up, use your core, so you're tall, shoulders down. Turn your toes inwards. Nice steady breath. You can just close your eyes and it sort of takes your mind, focus on your breath. It will enable you to go on longer. Turn the toes outwards because you're not totally focused on the discomfort. You're really going inwards, foot back to the center. And you're just keeping going until you can't. Okay, and then we'll just give those muscles another rub. Release. Good. So you're going to have a choice today. You can do pigeon pose on your back. So I'll just remind you, it's this exercise if you feel that you can't kneel up. But you've just been working these muscles here at the front of your hips as well as your quads. So another option is to come into the pigeon pose when we come up onto our knees, as I'm showing you. Take the right leg out, hold on to the right foot, and see if you can bring the shin as parallel to the front edge of your mat, but not leaning over to the right side. So your left hip needs to point forward. Now, the reason I've chosen to do this is because it not only stretches the glutes of the right hip, but also stretches the hip and the hip flexors of the left. Now, some people find that they can't get very low. You can always rest a block or a cushion under the left hip. And the thing you have to be most careful about is your right knee, because some of us find that angle is too uncomfy, in which case lie on your back. If you can manage, just ease yourself down slowly and come as low as you can. And this is a great stretch for the right buttock, the right hip, and very good for sciatic pain. And we'll just rest a few moments here now, keeping the pelvis nice and square. And thank you. One of our students very kindly, if you use Facebook, you'll see people sometimes make recommendations of places they would like you to go to or suggest you to go to. And we did get a recommendation, and actually the post was about sciatica. what can they do to help? And our centre got a shout out because this exercise is also used by the physios for sciatic type pain. So soften, breathe, surrender. And then smoothly and slowly coming out of that side, bring your left leg across, hold the foot to start with to enable the shin to be as parallel to the front as we can get it. Right leg will stretch back, allowing the right hip to drop down. And very slowly, without twisting the pelvis, allow yourself to sink down. Or clearly switch your leg and go onto the other side if you're on your back. And again, like any stretch, the key is to surrender, not fight it. It may be quite uncomfortable. Just breathe into it. Good. And now slowly and smoothly come out of it. And we're all going to go on our back. If you can find your bendy ball, we'll use it because we're going to use this to help us stretch the hamstrings, but also the back. So the bendy ball goes under the hips, the buttocks, and we hug our knees in first. And as usual, if you've got tight hamstrings, please use a strap now. Extend, but we'll go for both legs. And lift the legs in the air and flex and point the ankles. If your hamstrings are really tight, feel free to do one leg at a time. And then either holding your strap, but keep your elbows quite bent, so as imagine I'm holding a strap, or if you can reach up for your feet, your toes, go ahead. And we're gently going to ease. So first of all, try and get the back of the knee straight, so your hamstrings stretch. And then if they are straight, you start to gently draw on your legs and breathe into it. And in time, maybe not at the beginning if your hamstrings are really tight, you'll start to feel a stretch in your lower back and your buttocks as well as your hamstrings. Stay with it. And smoothly come off. Place your soles of your feet together. Let's just stretch those inner thighs before we complete the class. Knees drop wide. Make the same shape with the arms above your head. Breathe. Let go. Relax. And then let's finish with our lying on our back, legs drop wide, palms uppermost. And stretch out now. Clearly, if you want to continue, do some more stretches or just relax a bit longer, go ahead. Circle your wrists and your ankles, nice big slow circles both ways. Interlace your hands, full body stretch on the inhale and sigh. And again, in and sigh. Without opening the eyes, we bend the knees, we roll it over, and we slowly push ourselves up, and we come to cross-sitting. And as ever, take that moment to be aware of your posture, aware of our breathing. So we learn to do this as a daily habit, just come into this mindful awareness that We check in with your posture, we check in with our breath, and in this way we help keep the calm mind, awareness of how we use our body. And as we all know, keeping calm, steady, stable is essential for our well-being, to remain in this more what we call parasympathetic nervous system, also known as the rest and digest, not the sympathetic, the fight or flight. And clearly that is something that we all need to be working with, especially right now. So just taking a moment. And bring the hands together, rub the palms till they feel warm. And you can bring that energy into your face. I mean, if you've not been out, you're not touching things, then for me, I don't have any problem with touching my face. But at the beginning of lockdown, clearly we're all told not to touch our face, our nose, etc. I'm sure that's still very good advice, so use your own judgment. Take your hands away, our hands away. And we open the eyes. When we feel ready, you may find if you've been quite relaxed, you naturally want to close your eyes again. And that's fine, that's actually a good sign. It's a sign you're relaxed. Good. So thank you for joining us on Catch Up. This isn't a live class, but please do know that there is a live Zoom on Friday morning. And I am thinking of doing the Monday morning, which is a joint yoga Pilates, on Zoom, on live. So, let me know if that would be of interest to you. As ever, if there are any questions or comments, feedback, things you'd like to see covered in the class, please just let me know. Otherwise, take care, stay safe. Thank you. Namaste.